Welcome to my video. These are going to be my thoughts on Agatha All Along, Season 1, Episode 3. This episode is called Through Many Miles of Tricks and Trials. Another episode I love. Spoilers for everything MCU leading up to and including this episode. And let's see. The episode is rated... Not seeing it here. It's something like TV 14 or 16 or something. And so will this video be. So, yeah. The sets are fantastic. The road itself really creepy, and the upper class house just really they're doing that thing where they're taking something that would usually be appealing. Well, perhaps not to everyone. Not sure I'd want to live in a place like that, but, it's seen as, under capitalism, we're told that's the goal, wealth and flaunting it like that. I don't know, maybe it's more of a middle class, I don't, whatever. It's definitely not, like, working class house, We're told that's the goal, and because they're changing things just slightly, just twisting a little bit, it ends up really creepy. Like, it would be less creepy if it wasn't normally such an inviting, in theory, place. So yeah, very nicely done there. Just so I don't forget, I appreciate the detail that they needed unpoisoned blood, but you're also supposed to drink the wine. So basically, in order to pass this trial, either you bring someone along who's not going to drink, whether that means they're betraying you, like Agatha tried to almost succeed at, could also be you have someone who's underage and you don't want to get into that, which it is legitimately funny to think, witches, they're terrible. You can't have an underage person drinking, or they bring along... Well, oh, no, wait. Yeah, I guess they can't bring someone along who doesn't have magical power. Although, yeah, we still don't quite know if Sharon had any magical power. But, yeah, perhaps bring along a kidnap victim, just in case. Or, alternatively, bring blood in from the outside. Because they did get to keep at least some of the stuff. The teen still had his notebook, for example. So, yeah, that's, you want to be a witch. Those are your options. You're going to have to, yeah, this is not for the squeamish. The ending makes me wonder if this is just like, because not, a lot of the characters don't know everything about the Witch's Road. Does the Witch's Road, is it supposed to kill people, or is that because they failed? And I'm also not entirely sure why specifically. I know she drank first, or hold on. She was the first one to show the. No, yeah. She drank first. She maybe drank more than the others. I guess that might be it. So the antidote wasn't quite enough. Yeah, I think that's what I have about the end of it. But yeah, I can't help but wonder if the Witch's Road is supposed to kill, a person per trial, and then and Agatha maybe knew that. She doesn't seem that upset about Sharon's death. Yeah, the joke at the end with who's Sharon, that felt very like, Thanos is coming, he's coming, who, that's, yeah, the MCU has pulled that kind of joke on occasion. Yeah, really loving how much they are embracing the creepiness and like, I mean, this is a horror show. It's a horror mystery, more than like an MCU thing. We've still got the MCU jokes in there, but yeah. Right, as with my video on the first two episodes, I am not an expert on witchcraft, so I'm gonna try not to put my foot in my mouth. But yeah, yes, Sharon, I like the thing. I kind of thought it goes without saying, do not step off the path. This, Yeah. It's like these people didn't even. It's like Sharon didn't even play the first medieval game. You're not supposed to go directly into the corn. Yes. And now I want to play that game again. Anyway, for the like seventh time, if not more. Yes. So but yeah. You know, she drops the purse and it starts sinking in, and I love they give us just enough time. They don't like immediately have her grab it. There's like a second or two. And everyone in the audience is like either internally or externally screaming, "Let it go. Do not pick it up." You know, because we know, you know, cuz it could have hypothetically, like I feel like the Witch's Road could so easily have just let it sink like a stone immediately, you know. Because clearly there's something supernatural going on, because the how little it's sunk when she tries to grab it, that's not enough for it to be stuck in there, you know. So yeah, that's giving it just enough time that we realize she just let it go, you know. Yeah, and yeah, I talked in the first episode about there's some it's very much made for about and by women, and yeah, there's a joke in there about how much women love purses and objects, and she remembers the exact store where she got it and everything. Let's see, stereotypically, not to get all gender essentialist, but a lot of guys would probably be like, I don't remember where I got it. It's like, I guess it wouldn't be a purse, but if it were like, I don't know, backpack or something, it'd be like, what? I need it to hold stuff. I don't know where I bought, not to, like I mentioned, definitely not true of everyone, and not like a criticism of women. I feel like it's more of a, Sharon being in over her head than, women be terrible. Because none of the other witches make that mistake. Almost all of them are women. So, but yeah, and she grabs it, tries to pull it out, and it starts, then it starts to really sink. Before it was just, it's like, are you drowning or just stuck? And yeah, starts to sink in, and her hands are stuck. No worries, just pull your hands out with your face. And yeah, that's one of the most horrifying things we've seen in the MCU so far. They are really going. It's not like, as far as ones that aren't like super violent. We've seen like gory. Moon Knight had the vivisection, for example. That's obviously, I would argue, more horrifying, but that was also violent. And here they're going for more of this kind of creepy thing. Yeah, a lot of drowning in this episode. Jen almost drowned, and the seawater that was going to drown them, which I appreciate that it's like, I would argue that one of the things that makes it scarier is the fact that it is, for one thing, it's not an immediate death. That if you'll permit me to get upsetting for a moment, because I do feel like the show is, calls for that. Yeah, people who, hold on, let me think. I forget if it's people who've almost drowned or people who like drowned and were resuscitated. We have like witness accounts. We know people who've, yeah, they say it's terrifying, and it's that thing of like, because your brain is trying desperately to think of a way out of it. You're not sleeping into death, and it's not so immediate that you have no time to think about it. Drowning can take minutes. And apparently, I feel like I heard once even longer if it's like if it's in like don't know why I can't get that word out all of a sudden. Maybe there's a sigil over me. Frozen water, or that, ice cold water that's cold as ice, willing to sacrifice. Yeah, and the fact that we do, for each, ultimately nobody drowns in the seawater, but from when we're told, oh yeah, that water's definitely coming in here, to, them escaping from Fancy House, there's minutes and minutes, and yeah, with the other ones, like Sharon, not like under her head is not under the surface, but from when her hands are stuck until the other witches manage to pull her out, yeah, I'd say maybe minute and a half or two or something like that. It's not immediate. And yeah, Jen also underwater for maybe not quite as long as that, but that is also the most intense. She's the one whose head goes underwater. And yeah, it's not just like an absolutely immediate thing. She's under there for seconds at least. Where like I feel like if this had been like, let's say 5 or 10 years ago in the MCU, her face would have almost touched the surface and then she would have escaped, because she does ultimately escape it. But yeah, they're pushing it, and I'm here for it. Let's see. I think. Right, and yeah, I appreciate that the near drowning of Jen is obviously violent, and the water pouring in. I mean, like, violence in the way that it's not, if we're talking about, like, a violent, scary thing, it might be someone getting stabbed or something, like, more than physically forced into something dangerous. But I think that, yeah, so let's jump back to the beginning and do some chronological stuff. So yeah, I don't think I have that much more to say before they get to the house. Yeah, I like the detail that, it's the phases of the moon, and, perhaps one of them is a new moon. Maybe there's a hunky werewolf, group in there. And yeah, I maintain that movie was more engaging than I had been led to believe. I'm quite enjoying the Twilight movie so far, the first two. Let's see. Yes, so the thing, we don't want to surprise anyone. And Shearing said it's got the ding dong, the classic, and it is empty, which means whatever witch might have lived in there, if we're taking that literally, is dead. So, ding dong, the witch is dead. Which? And yeah, and Agatha goes up, don't we want to surprise someone? And she just opens the door, and, talk about opening the door. And yeah, it is this thing, of course, you can go right in. It's not... It's a trial. It's not supposed to be difficult to access. It's just difficult to get back out of, especially if you forget to cancel before the trial period has expired. And yeah, as soon as they're inside, nothing opens. There's no doorknobs, and that's one of those wonderful little things. Because, like, again, doors by themselves and like windows and all these things, like, when they're that, like, attractive, like, I wouldn't want to live there. I can appreciate they're aesthetically pleasing, normally you wouldn't necessarily think of it as like a bad thing, again, unless you're super not into being around. The moment that there's no knobs, then it's like, okay, this is a nightmare, and let's see, then we have and the riddle and the fancy paper that it's printed on and everything. And it is like this wonderful, because it's like suddenly it's like, oh, you got here before the realtor got here, but please help yourself. We set out something to wait, what are those called? Not refreshments, right? Because that's a different, or not hors d'oeuvres, that's food. Whatever, I think you get where I'm getting at. You don't. And then we have the and it's a pretty decent riddle. I do feel like there's some wine moms who would disagree with the part about I'm no fun alone, but okay. There's definitely, I'm not saying wine moms wrote this, but there's definitely some wine mom jokes in here. Like, Sharon just chugs it like she's dying of thirst or something. And she's like, "What? I had a hard day. I've been watching the kids all day. I'm running out of Minion memes. Give me a break here." And the glasses fill back up with wine, which I really feel, listen, I only poured one glass of the wine, and it kept refilling it. What am I gonna do? Just pour it out? That's definitely a wine mom joke, and you're not gonna be able to convince me otherwise. Let's see. Right, and there's some cattiness in the first, yeah, in the first two episodes as well. And here, we have this thing of like the bad Botox kind of looking, failed plastic surgery look. I realize they're saying it's like swelling, but I gotta say the first thing that popped into my head was definitely like failed plastic surgery. And the them trying to be sensitive about it, and her thinking that they're saying she looks amazing, and that's definitely a catty kind of joke there. The right the thing of like, we need a corkscrew. There's a functional bar over here, and Jen's like, "I'll help," which, like, I guess maybe Agatha just didn't think about it, or maybe she just doesn't care. Like, no, that's obvious. Yeah, she wants a moment alone with Teen to talk to him, not anything else. And yeah, she sacrificed her own child for the Darkhold. Hence the room full of her kids, her kids stuff in the true crime portion of the first episode. And then we get, and Teen is still like, has some what's the word? Yeah, still feels like they're being too hard on her, kind of thing. And Jen says something along the lines of, she wouldn't know her own child if it showed up on her doorstep. I mean, that has to be a red herring duo, right? That's too obvious for it to... This is not like Mr. Scratch in human form, is it? This is Nicholas. I feel like there's some other... Yeah, that's gotta be... Because that's way too obvious. We're only in episode 3. There's supposed to be 9 total. A third of the way through to drop something like that. I mean, even renaming Agatha Harkness as Agnes wasn't that obvious. Was kind of funny when literally everyone that has picked up a comic that features Agatha Harkness immediately clocked that. Was like, okay, that's so is Agatha Harkness, right? No. And there's a chance, I suppose, that that's what's going on there. That because he did literally show up on her doorstep. I mean, I suppose he broke in. Still not 100% sure how much of a one-to-one the true crime bit was, but yeah. Let's see. Right, I really appreciate the reveal that every single witch can't hear his name. And they also specify it's a witch. It's only for witches, if you're not a witch. Sharon didn't say she heard the name either. So, see, I'm not 100% certain if Sharon really is dead, because would it really work if there truly was no witchy power? I can't help but wonder if she was faking it. She's really good at it, though, if that is, because, like, she almost died, which I guess it could be, what's one of those things, Gambit? there's a specific term for when you take a huge risk to manipulate others into, because like she maybe figured, oh, they'll save me, they need me, but that's still taking a risk. And she did really appear to be dead at the end of the episode. Anyway, yes, that brings us to the let's see. Yeah. The wine, Agatha dumps it in the flour, and then when everyone's faces are all messed up, she like uses her hair to cover it. It's like, oh no, yeah. I really do appreciate they haven't. I Yeah, sanded her edges off. She's, this is essentially the first villain protagonist, in one of these. I suppose an argument could be made for Thanos in Infinity War, but the ultimately that one still did focus a lot on the heroes trying to stop him. This one so far, like we really haven't met a hero character. Everyone's been like straight up villain with some like civilians and victims, but there's not been a single character in these 3 episodes that you could point to and like, oh, that's the big hero who's going to save everyone. So yeah, really appreciate that they're doing that. Lot of amazing comics that are villain protagonist centric. Yes, so what was the other thing that I wanted to say? We have the... Yes, we have the... I gotta say, the moment that, because Sharon said something like, I'm not into this witchy... I like the talk about witch, witch is just another word for a bad girl. That's so reductive. We're not a monolith. I quite appreciate that. It's sort of played for laughs, but yeah, like there is some truth to that. Basically, there's been a lot of for a long time, the people who recorded stuff about witches and spread it hated witches, and yeah, it was essentially propaganda. And so, yeah, a lot of people to this day, what I was taught as a kid is very far from what I've since learned about witchcraft. They use it to scare children. And let's see. Right, that was actually... So the oven. I'm not climbing in an oven. One of my friends did that, and she had such a lovely house. At my age, I'm starting to sympathize with the witch from Hansel and Gretel. She's got the perfect house, and these 2 little brats come and screw it all up. I quite like... So, she knows that witch, like, personally. Like, that's legitimately a funny, neat little... Yeah. When I was a kid, that was my main complaint about that story. Like, I remember... I forget if I said it, but I definitely thought, like... Why would you tell me at age 7 that someone was horribly burnt to that? Like, just write a different version of the story where they like stab her and death is instantaneous and then she goes in the oven or something. Like, I get that maybe you need to eventually, and yes, I appreciate the irony. She was going to bake them. She gets baked. Not in the fun way. But yeah, let's see, that brings... the moment Sharon said, I would drink virgin's blood to take these wrinkles off my... Something like that, And immediately her face is messed up. I thought it was going to be like a curse, that like each of them will get a monkey's paw version of something they really want or something, but yeah, instead they go, yeah, I guess it was an expectation subversion, really, because that is the kind of thing, when you have supernatural horror and something like that happens, because yeah, at the end of the day, it is just poison. Like, they drank poisoned wine. That doesn't require the supernatural. and it is that thing of like, it's the first trial. It's not necessarily supposed to be super difficult. It's like that the bad man, struggling with the riddle with bullets riddle. It's just there to tell them, okay, something bad might happen here. You gotta apply yourself, but here's an easy one. And yeah, indeed, Agatha needed a potions person. Yeah, I think that brings us nicely to. Let's see. Yeah, the timer was nice and creepy, and again, it's this thing of like they could have gone with like a really witchy looking clock ticking down, and it is very very Hollywood to have a literal ticking clock, but no, it looks like a timer. Like if you saw a shot of that timer and you didn't know the context, you'd think, oh, someone's baking, yeah, or cooking. The show is cooking, and yeah, let's see, yeah, they just barely do get the antidote into everyone right before the timer is completely, and even have to carry Sharon. Sherry on my wayward son. And let's see, then we have the what was the other thing? There was definitely right, and suddenly there's right. Agatha thinks she can break out and takes the hard object, starts bashing against the window, and they do stop her before it's too late. But yeah, and not long after there's salt water right outside. Oh, great. The trial teleported them to Rapture. Now what? But that is a great little, because yeah, the fact that it's confirmed that the water is definitely able to come through, and it is like salt water. They're under the sea, where everything's, I don't know if it's better, but it's definitely wetter. And yeah, so I really appreciated this thing of like they have to get all these witch potion ingredients, and it's like when Jen first says the names of the different things, it's like, oh yeah, that is something that witches would have used a while back, or at least they're typical. I don't know enough about them to say for sure if it's a stereotype or real. And then it's like, oh yeah, we still use that stuff as ingredients and other stuff. That was quite a good, yeah. Let's see. I think that, yeah, and the thing about I'm gonna call her bluff. I bet her her beauty products are not all natural, and Jen is like, fine. Another catty remark about beauty products, like in the second episode. Let's see. I really love teens like excitement. When Jen is like, "Can I give you a bit of advice?" and he's like, "Ah, I do. I was hoping this was gonna happen. Where's my notebook? I can't believe I'm gonna actually get good advice from a potion switch. Sure, is one who accidentally burns people's skin, but still, just yeah. He's just so excited. I really really dig that. Let's see. Right, and I like the detail that, yeah, straight up, he did not realize that there was a sigil. It's visible only to the others. Let's see. Yeah. And the visions are legitimately scary and creepy. And let's see. Then we have the... And they do a really great job. The different, very different places that the various and moods and styles to the creepy in different ways. It's not just the same one thing. That brings and the detail about well, right, I gotta boil. Yeah, I love the teen being like, I mean, blue, green, teal. Maybe we can, and the others are like, no, this is not you're gonna work, And the thing about, well, I mean, it's gotta be boiling. Yeah, it's a witch's brew. And the thing about, oh, we'll cook, we'll do it sous vide, which that's a, and of course that would be in a kitchen like that. Again, this is not like, I mean, I would guess a sous vide is probably expensive. A lot of French things are. French worded things. I suppose it's possible. It's one of those things that was just given a French name to sound fancy. Yes. Then we have the right, and the thing with the blood, and yeah, the bit about how he didn't drink any. I like that he so he doesn't have anything to drink, but he holds up just his hand to what is that? Is that, do you all call that cheers toasting? Yeah, I don't, I've never been in a situation like that with someone who didn't speak Danish. What can I say? We called it skål, which translates to either cheers or toast. But yeah, let's see. And Sharon has already emptied her glass at that point. She holds up the empty glass for the right. I like, Agatha is so determined not to drink the wine that she smashes a glass. Like, well, there's nothing more left, and then one of them, picks one up and is like, well. And the teen looks her right in the eye and says, "Do it," which is the most intense he's been with her up to this point. So, yeah, it's, I appreciated that little, under certain circumstances, he is, if it's the seeming death of the people there, he is willing to push back harder than he usually does with her. Let's see, the right, I appreciate that the episode didn't try to like overstuff. Like, it legitimately, from start to finish, it is about the first trial. They get to the house pretty quickly, and they only escape it at the very end. And through the trial, we see the various supernatural visions, some of which attack them. I guess the house is like the spaceship from Event Horizon, or like they went to Silent Hill or something. I'm more fond of that interpretation. I think that might be about what I have to say about this one. I don't have a lot to say about the specifics of the visions. I'm sure others will. I don't personally. I'm not good at interpreting very much from that little. Like, let's see, the you have the thing when your grandmother died. She was far away, but I could still feel it. What did she say then? Now it's my turn, or something like that. Yeah, the let's see. She said her mom is missing. She's looking. She wants to find her mom. So that is like she's terrified that her mother is in danger, and you maybe have this element that being able to sense something like that must be absolutely horrifying. Sense the death of a loved one. Maybe she even only sees one part of a person's life. But yeah, I think that's all that I have. I really appreciate that they, this thing of actually having this very different kind of setting. I think if everything, if almost this entire show was in these, really darkly lit, like really overtly creepy places like the Witch's Road, I think that might get old in 9 episodes. So I thought that was a clever, yeah. Um, I feel like there's at least one more thing, but I cannot place it. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so IMDb trivia for this episode. When the teen says, "Why would anyone want to hide me?" Agatha steps in front of him, hiding him almost completely from sight. And this episode contains the first mention of Mephisto in the MCU. Let's see. Yeah, I think that is what I have for this one. Yeah, really, really digging it. Oh, right. The song at the end. My memory. I can't remember if that was also played in one of the first 2 episodes over the end credits, but it's definitely a really cool. Excuse me. Really cool song. Really nails this thing of like having some of classic witch stuff, but also this like more modern. It doesn't feel like the song was performed hundreds of years ago. Right, and the fact that they do almost drown, like I feel like I've heard it wasn't just like parody stuff, right? There has been like, or I suppose it's possible it's referenced the parody stuff, but yeah, like witches being like thrown in water to execute them or to test if they really are a witch, something along those lines, because she is made of wood and weighs the same as a duck. And right, I did talk some about the end credits before. I don't think I mentioned they have Lisa Simpson in there, which just reminds me of that one bit in the I forget what it's called, but there's a short on Disney Plus. It was there at least. I don't. Occasionally they remove stuff, but basically like Simpsons MCU crossover, and I think they even got Tom Hiddleston to reprise his role as Loki, and in that they actually do have right. I believe the image of Lisa is from that one Treehouse of Horror where they do like Harry Potter basically, but yeah, it reminded me of that short and the part where someone holds, we see a bunch of Simpsons characters as MCU characters, and then someone holds up a sign that says, "This is what happens when Disney buys both Fox and Marvel."